In very many cultures, the elderly are regarded as the repositories of wisdom, of the collective experience of the community, the repositories of ideals and values.
We were sitting there as elders with our new chair, Archbishop Tutu, who told us we could call him Arch, and we heard the singing.
That moment was very special because it was a huge sense of responsibility, a huge moment of commitment.
He spelled out in his speech to the elders and giving us our mandate and our obligations for the future some of the finest aspects of political theory and philosophy that I've ever known.
In today's world, many of the problems we face are global in nature. These include climate change, pandemics, and of course that entirely human-created affliction, violent conflict.
And I was quite skeptical up to that point. I was thinking to myself, isn't it a bit arrogant to want to be elders for the global village? But as soon as he sat with us and talked, it was as if we had a mandate that was overwhelmingly important.
The efforts of a small, dedicated group of leaders working objectively and without any vested personal interest in the outcome can help resolve what often seems like intractable problems. We have the making of such a group. Let us call them global elders.
For 10 years, the elders have been flying the flag for equality and human rights, guided by Mandela's principles.
Either the leadership doesn't have a clear picture of how deep is the suffering of their own people, or they don't care.
Tasked with a tall but inspirational order, the elders have worked across the globe to give a voice to the voiceless and speak truth to power.
I don't think anyone would ever claim that the demolition of someone's home is fair or just or peaceful.
Standing up to discrimination and violence, and championing peace and reconciliation. Embracing the mandate of hope, compassion and solidarity that was set out by Nelson Mandela in 2007.
They can talk to anyone they please and are free to follow paths they deem right.
We have nothing to lose. We are not out to make a career. We have our careers behind us. So we should be free to raise our voices and to encourage and steer people in the right direction without necessarily provoking or stepping on them.
The elders will not only speak truth to power, but make sure that what they are bringing to that truth is the reality of the lives of those who are affected by behaviors of governments, of states, and of non-state actors that are not respecting human rights and democracy.
They get 2 blankets, if it's a 10
and power needs that. They need to listen to the truth, which they don't get always from the people around them.
You are the bird watcher. It has been for years a complete stalemate, and I think we had an impact.
How are you?
We have contributed to more of a dialogue or a potential dialogue between North and South Korea.
They are, I know, committed to working with local and indigenous knowledge, to listening and bringing together antagonists and protagonists, to working with anyone who is motivated to resolve a problem.
Looking at the bones and the remains and with the holes here and there, it was very emotional. And yeah, I mean, it was probably the first time that I actually cried about having lost my father. It was very emotional.
You really give hope to people. You make people understand that no matter how bad their present situation is, there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
A conflict situation that I remember very vividly was when we went, Archbishop Tutu, Kofi Annan and myself, to Côte d'Ivoire. There was still fighting in the street in Abidjan. The former president had been taken out of the city and they didn't know where he was, and there were rumours that he was being tortured. So the first thing Kofi did was say, look, we have to go there. And he got the UN to put us on a private plane early the following morning to go and see the former president. And he was in a nice villa, newly pressed shirt, and no problems. And we were able to say that. He is being very well looked after. He is not tortured.
Qui ont aussi accepté également que le président Ouattara était il est le président.
You know, it made a huge difference. And I think we helped that peace process enormously.
They will reach out to those who most need their help. It is those who have the least and who therefore suffer the most. It is those who are rarely heard. This group of elders can represent them and make sure they are not ignored.
We want to help inspire you to say to your parents and to your friends, we don't want to be married off as 15-year-olds.
I was not allowed to wear any colorful clothes or go to any ceremony.
We take time to listen to people, to take the voices and the aspirations of children, of women, of young people, of the marginalized, to take it to a level where they can be listened by those who have to make decisions to affect their lives.
So if any human being now, particularly your age, wants to adopt an issue that is challenging and unpredictable and exciting and adventurous and gratifying, and will stretch our hearts and minds and capabilities to the utmost, this is it. And my hope and prayer is that you and the people that you influence and the ones that are watching this on television will adopt this issue. And let's change the world for the better.
They will insist on assuming the essential interdependence of all humankind. We call this the spirit of Ubuntu, that profound African sense that we are human only through the humanity of other human beings.
I think the elders have to now put a priority on explaining the importance of the dignity and worth of every individual, of the migrant not being a threat, but rather an opportunity.
There's no doubt that there's a great deal of mistrust of leaders. There has to be a conversation between the leaders and the people. We have to give them the assurance that their interest is paramount.